Welcome to Monroe MustHangs. I'm your host, David Spiegel. Today we're going to continue our National Athletic Training Month series with head athletic trainer for the Monroe Express, Morganne Lundin. But before we get to that, just a few things to say. I am clean shaven, ready to go for a new season. And if you listened or saw Tuesday's episode, I hyped up game day. I hyped up that it was going to be the first day of our new athletic season for the baseball and softball teams for the Monroe Mustangs. Unfortunately, that did not happen. It did not come to fruition. This is why we say subject to change. Subject to change is a very important piece of our schedules, especially in the spring. And things happen. Those games did not happen, but we look forward to the games that are coming up. And as I record this, it is the morning of Wednesday, March 17th. Happy St. Patty's Day, everybody. And the Monroe Mustangs baseball team has a newly scheduled home opener against Citius Prep at 3 p.m. So by the time you're listening to or seeing this, hopefully that game has already gone off without a hitch. Hopefully it's a win. Hopefully you'll watch it on YouTube and follow the live stats on our website. And we're here now celebrating that first game getting done. First game in over a year. It's been 372 days as of this moment that I'm recording this since we played a home game, since the Monroe Mustangs played any game. Of course, the Monroe Express played a baseball game on March 11th last year, so they had one extra day of play. But we're back to work. Hopefully, again, things are going without a hitch. Knock on wood, that this time it actually happened. And we're looking forward to getting the season done without a hitch. Of course, look forward to more changes. We have a bunch of changes already coming up in the schedule that have not been announced at this point. So, make sure if you're looking to watch a game that you're checking the schedule pretty frequently. Things are going to change. Again, subject to change. Very important. But let's get back on track here. Today we're going to be interviewing Morganne Lundin, the head athletic trainer for the Monroe Express. Morgan's been incredibly instrumental in implementing the COVID-19 protocols for the Monroe Express, helpful for the Monroe Mustangs, been helping out the college in general, getting things done here. So Morgan's really been very important to us. And you're going to see that they've put a lot of work into all of this, making sure our athletes stay safe. Morgan's done a lot of the educating of our coaches, our staff, our athletes. I've been helped out a lot as well. So I think you're going to learn a few things from Morganne, and I think that Morgan's going to tell you, how educated they are, and you're going to see that we are prepared to be vigilant and diligent and get through this season without a hitch. We're testing every week in the Bronx, testing frequently in New Rochelle. We're making sure that all our athletes, our staff, our coaches are safe. We're trying to make sure that our opponents are safe as well. And we're gonna do a great job with this. We're really, it's gonna be different. It's gonna be a lot of hard work, but we're putting in that work to make sure our athletes get this season, get the season done, get through it, get to their postseasons, and that we set up for a successful fall 2021 season as well. This season going off without a hitch is very important to the fall getting off without a hitch as well. So very much looking forward to this. You're going to learn some things today. You're going to hear some good things from Morganne. So without further ado, here is Morganne Lundin. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my guest, the head athletic trainer for the Monroe Express, Morganne Lundin.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me, David.
Thanks for joining me today, Morganne. Of course, we're continuing our National Athletic Training Month series, and happy to have you on to continue this as we get through both the Monroe Mustangs and Monroe Express sports medicine departments. And Morganne, you've been very, very involved in sports medicine, athletic training here at Monroe since you started a couple of years ago, and you've really built your way up, climbed the ladder since very quickly since you started here. But first, I want to just go back to the beginning for you. Let our audience know a little about yourself, how you found your way to athletic training and made a career out of it.
Sure. So I think like many athletic trainers, we kind of get our passion from the job starts actually like pretty young, like when we're in high school, interacting with our athletic trainers. I had an injury in high school, and that's kind of where I first discovered athletic training. I was very into all the anatomy, what was going on. I really enjoyed the rehab process, and I found my way studying athletic training in my undergraduate at Bridgewater State University. And I went on to Westchester University in Pennsylvania to study my master's in exercise science with a concentration in athletic training. And there I was really able to study under some really great athletic trainers in the country. And yeah, I worked part-time there as a graduate assistant with track and field, which is really great. I really enjoyed working with track because it's such a diverse population. You have all types of different athletes from cross country, different body types versus like a sprinter, and then you have your throwers. So I felt like I got a really good experience there. And I graduated there in 2018. And yeah, I got really lucky. I found the position at Monroe with Jess as an assistant athletic trainer. And it wasn't too local for me at first. I was commuting from Poughkeepsie all the way to the Bronx for the first year of the position. And I really thought it was, even though the commute was tough and challenging, the athletes and the environment with the Express was really rewarding. And we started athletics in the Express in 2017. So I thought it was really awesome, me coming in 2018, that I could really make a mark with the program and help guide things. And position for head athletic trainer opened up after my first year. And thankfully Alaire and Jess thought that I would be a good fit for the position, and it was there. So I had to go for it and move up to the head athletic trainer position. And so far I'm almost 2 years now as like the head athletic trainer. And obviously the last year has been not what I was expecting in the position with the pandemic, but I'm really excited. It's been today marks the 1 year since the last time we were all on campus, March 11th. So yeah, and this Monday, March 15th, we're finally resuming athletic operations. So I'm ready to start this new chapter.
It has definitely been a year that I hope we never have to experience again, for sure. But I think, of course, we've learned a lot from it, and we've grown a lot from it. And as I mentioned, you've been incredibly involved, since taking over the head athletic trainer position. And in the past year, I've been working directly with you a lot, and you've done really a lot to continue communicating with our athletes during the pandemic. Obviously, we'll follow up a little bit more on the pandemic itself, but in the last year, we made an Instagram page for Monroe Sports Med at Monroe Sports Med, of course, and you've really taken charge and taken the lead on that one. And we kind of led into that earlier during the pandemic, when you'd kind of take over the Monroe Express Instagram page, and you were doing different workouts every week, a couple times a week, doing them on Zoom as well. So what was that experience like for you, kind of taking things to into the virtual world to stay in touch with the athletes, make sure they're staying in shape, and just making sure that you were still interacting with everyone on a weekly basis?
Yeah, I felt very disconnected at first from all of our athletes, and I know it was very challenging. Our athletes were going through a lot with their mental health, as everyone was transitioning from going from the sport that they love to now being isolated in their homes. So I really wanted to create a way that I could still see the athletes face to face. So I started doing the live workouts. Every Mondays I was doing workouts, and I'm pretty sure back in the summer, Wednesdays, Thursdays, I would do yoga and different educational. I did some webinars with the athletes talking about nutrition, foam rolling, just trying to keep them engaged and give back in a way. And even if they weren't too interested in some of the topics, I think for me, nutrition is very interesting, but I think just giving them an opportunity to stay connected with us was really important, keeping them engaged.
Yeah, I think it's something that's hard to expect from such young students, that they just, obviously a lot of them lost their athletic year, not eligibility wise, but just in general, they didn't really get to play the spring season. A lot of them, they went on to, we didn't lost the fall season as well. So it's been a challenging year. And, I think doing anything really just to attempt to keep them all engaged and give them things they can do from home has been great. And I'm glad we could really do that. It's something that I thought of early on when I knew we weren't really going to be in the office much and interacting with students. And I was really happy when you kind of took charge and took the lead on that one. And now, of course, we have the Instagram page, Monroe Sports Med, that's growing every single day. You guys are doing so much on a weekly basis. All the trainers are involved in some way or another. So now that you've actually been able to hand off a little bit of those responsibilities, what are some of your feelings about it so far? And how how good of a job are the other trainers doing with it? And, what's your favorite part about it so far?
Yeah, I mean, Instagram's been around for, years now. It's kind of how society is transitioning to basically like over half of the world is connected in some way to social media. So I think, it's really important as the younger generations coming up that, if you want to retain these athletes, you need to be on social media. I mean, for me, I'm looking forward. I like to join TikTok and I'm interested in that. I know our women's basketball team at Monroe has a really cool TikTok account. So I'm really happy with the Instagram and how it's going right now. We all take turns posting. We take turns coming up with the theme of the week. And yeah, I mean, I love how the athletic trainers, each of us kind of has a different take on social media. Like Bobby and Andrew make a lot of videos of themselves doing things, and Amanda and I do more of like graphic posts. So I think the Instagram page is really diverse, and stay tuned for TikTok page in the future.
We're definitely looking forward to that. I think so far it's been really good. So a TikTok page will probably be really entertaining.
Mhm.
So I mentioned again, I can't say enough how involved you've been, but in the past at least 6 or 7 months, for like absolutely last 6 7 months, you've been basically leading the way with the COVID-19 protocols. It's really been helpful for both campuses, but really spearheading it for the Monroe Express. And I know you've educated yourself a lot, and of course, passed that along to the rest of the staff and the coaches and the student athletes as best as possible. And like you mentioned, March 15th is going to be return to play for the Express.
Mhm.
Beginning of April is going to be the return to competition. So we've got a lot to really be concerned about in the next few weeks. Making sure that athletes are staying healthy, that they're being diligent about, washing their hands, wearing their masks, keeping their distance, getting tested every week, and you're basically in charge of all of that, and it's a very big responsibility. So, what are some of the more important things you've learned during this time that are really going to be helpful to the student athletes and the teams during this season?
Yeah. I think one of the things that's kind of, I mean, I've been, up on the CDC guidelines, reading as much as I can. And the thing that's really positive that I've kind of been seeing just with our community in New York and in the Bronx is that everyone seems to have a really great like team approach to this pandemic. I mean, I'm in the Bronx a couple days a week now, soon to be almost every day in the week, and I still see everyone wearing their masks. So I'm really hopeful. I think that's the biggest thing moving forward, and I think that we've all learned is you need to wear the mask not for yourself, but for everyone else to protect. And yeah, hopefully everyone's going to be getting like vaccinated and keeping, wearing the mask, and we'll get through this pandemic. And I have a lot of faith in our staff and our athletes that they want to do what's right. So I know that we're going to do the best that we can to keep everyone safe, and I trust that everyone will too.
I think it's taken a lot for us to even get to this point. I think for a lot of this year, we didn't think that March would come around and we'd be preparing for seasons on both of our campuses. And yeah, obviously we're thrilled to be here. And I can't say enough how good of a job the athletic training staff has done. Obviously, Monroe College itself has been very diligent, and we wouldn't at all be here if it wasn't for a lot of the college staff making sure that protocols were in place, precautions were being taken, and everything that could be done to get students back to class and athletes back on the field and on the court and everywhere they need to be. It wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for all the hard work that everyone's doing, but especially our athletic trainers, all 6 of you on both campuses, just working so hard to make sure that everything was done right. Obviously, changing the way you work. A lot of you, whether it's working from home or limiting how many athletes you could see on a daily basis, coming up with new ways to schedule them to come in. Obviously, you've been using Calendly a lot, and it seems to be really helpful. And finding different ways, athletes are going to be checking in at practice, checking in the field, checking in our facilities to make sure that we can do contact tracing. All this stuff is in place, and it's really great. But I think it's really transformed the job that you have to do. You went from obviously treating bones and muscles and rehabbing and conditioning to now having to worry about the health and safety of student athletes and coaches and all the staff. You're in charge of all of that. So, obviously we talked with other trainers about the challenges of the past year throughout this series so far. And I believe that you have a different perspective on it just because you really have kind of led the way on the COVID-19 protocol. So what are some of the biggest challenges you see coming at us in the next couple of months as we return to competition?
Yeah, I think biggest challenges are, everyone's so excited. The weather is really, it's like 60 degrees out and sunny right now. Everyone's kind of has COVID fatigue and is, getting a little bit over having to deal with the pandemic and acknowledge it. But I mean, I feel very confident. Monroe College is in a really great position that our administrative staff, like Alaire Primiano, the athletic director, vice president, Mr. Dimon, and President Jerome, they really have given athletics the resources that we need. Monroe College is one of the only junior colleges with like 6 full-time athletic training staff between the 2 programs. So I feel really blessed to be given the opportunity. A lot of other schools in the city, they're not even able to run athletics because they don't have a full-time athletic training staff. So I think, we're very lucky to be where we're at with that.
Yeah, I'd say we're definitely very privileged in that regard. When I had Jessica Rayford on a number of months ago, that was one of the things she said was that, obviously she started the athletic training program in New Rochelle many years ago, and to build it up to this point where we have all these full-time athletic trainers, we're doing it on 2 different campuses, and we kind of share responsibilities as it is, but to really have these resources available to our athletes is, like I said, a privilege. So it's another reason why I wanted to make it a point that, I'm highlighting all of you this month during National Athletic Training Month, because we're so lucky to have all of you around. All the athletes are so lucky to have so many resources available to keep them healthy, keep them playing, keep them away from getting sick and, heading them down the right path. So of course, I want to make sure that everyone understands how appreciative we are of all of you and the hard work you've done before this pandemic, but especially now with how much harder you have to work.
Thanks, David. Yeah, I really, want to take this challenge with the pandemic head on as one of our duties of athletic training. One of our main jobs is to prevent injuries. So this whole COVID environment, it's basically just one way that we're gonna focus on prevention of injuries and illness. So we've been trained on preventing mostly musculoskeletal injuries. But yeah, this is just a really good learning opportunity to promote wellness and health overall.
I'm really hoping that after all this is said and done, as many people are vaccinated as possible, and we don't really have to think about COVID-19 being an issue for us anymore, that your jobs get a whole lot easier, in retrospect after this, because of how hard it's been the last year and change. We're about to wrap this up, but is there any final message you want to send to our audience, send to our student athletes and staff before we wrap up?
Yeah, I'd just like to say thank you to all the student athletes and staff. Over the last couple of years, you've really made me feel like home and part of the Monroe community. And I just want all the athletes to know that although we've been virtual last year, I'm here for you. That's my main job. And what I really take pride in is being a safe resource for the athletes to come in. So just know that I'm always a safe place and you're always welcome.
Well, thank you again for everything you're doing. And thank you again for joining me today. For those of you at home, make sure you're following our athletic trainers on Instagram at Monroe Sports Med. See everything they're doing, learn a few things. Every week is a bit of education and learning new ways to, keep yourself healthy, keep yourself in shape. And like you said, nutrition tips, everything you could think of. It's been really helpful. I keep an eye on it every day myself. So again, thank you for all the hard work with that. For those of you at home, again, whenever it is that it's safe to see our athletic trainers, make sure you tell them hello, tell them thank you for everything they do to keep our athletes safe and healthy and on the field. Everyone, just make sure you tune in to all the episodes of this National Athletic Training Month series. You can look back at our archives on YouTube, youtube.com/Monroe Mustangs. Check us out on Instagram at Monroe Mustangs and watch these episodes on IGTV. Check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks for hanging with us again this time. Everyone stay safe, wear your mask, keep your distance, make sure our athletes can continue playing next year and get back to normal. Morgan, thank you again so much, and I'll see you soon. Take care.
Thanks, David.
Monroe MustHangs is sponsored by the Monroe Mustang Sideline Store, powered by our apparel partners at BSN Sports. Whether you're looking for t-shirts, hats, jackets, or accessories, the Monroe Mustang Sideline Store has it all. Gear up with the new Monroe Mustangs logo and make it your own with hundreds of customizable options, including sports-specific designs. For the month of March, you can take 20% off all orders of $80 or more using the promo code MARCH21. That's MARCH21. Visit MonroeCollegeMustangs.com/shop to look your best as you cheer on the Mustangs.